Welcome back to the Multifamily Marketers Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Grillo, co-founder here at Resident 360. And I'm also joined by my co-host, Miss Caroline Mills. Caroline, how are we doing this afternoon?
I am good. I can't complain over here in North Carolina. We had some chilly days this week, but today we are probably sunny and 75, so can't complain.
That is sunny and 75 sounds really good. And let me remind you, today is our 40th episode. Can you believe it?
This is so crazy. I was telling Josh, I'm like, we got to have a celebration when we get here to 52. It feels so crazy that we're closer to 52, than we are how far we've come.
Oh, yeah. I remember starting this thing and we were so nervous and, not quite sure how we were going to come across on the microphone. I mean, I'm still quite nervous as well when I'm speaking on the phone, on the microphone and what's going to actually come out of it. So.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things is if you're listening to this, and I think it surprises guests whenever we have them on, is for the most part, we're one take. Like we just keep going and we just don't stop. And so I feel like we've grown and gotten better at it. But if you're listening, it is really just one shot and we get it done.
That's a good point. Yeah, it is one take only. And that's it. So if you hear some ums and ahs, that's all included in the one take.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
makes it fun.
Let's jump into today's episode. So what we're talking about is organic versus paid social for your multifamily communities. What you should be doing. Should you be doing both? Should you be doing one or the other? We're going to unpack it all in this episode. So are you ready to get started here, Caroline?
I am ready. Let's jump on in.
Okay, so let's start simple. What is the real difference between organic and paid social for multifamily properties?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like a lot of times it's just looped into one where people just say social media and you probably are thinking organic, but a lot of times that includes paid social on our side in multifamily. So organic social is your unpaid content. This is your regular posts, your reels, your stories. This may be about resident events, lifestyle content. So the main job of organic social media is to build awareness. You're building trust with your community. You're showcasing the lifestyle. You're working on that resident retention. We've talked about that recently. And you're creating credibility. Whereas paid social, on the other hand, this really involves your ad dollars. So there's money going into this, and this goes behind campaigns to target specific people, areas, whatever it may be. So your paid social is more your lead generation, your website traffic, your conversions. You're going to want to use this in lease-ups. And this really gives an immediate reach. So essentially, organic is going to build your brand, whereas paid drives the targeted actions.
So organic's kind of like building the reputation while paid is accelerating the visibility. Is that kind of a good way of looking at it?
Exactly. One's going to nurture, whereas one scales.
Where would you say that most multifamily teams go wrong?
Yeah, a few big ones is treating social media truly just like a to-do item, a checkbox. So posting maybe some inconsistent or low quality content, maybe just boosting random posts without any strategy behind it, not understanding who you're targeting or who your audience is. And then kind of expecting immediate leases from organic alone. So I think one of the biggest misconceptions that I come across is that organic will help fill occupancy, will help boost leasing, when that's rarely realistic, especially in a very competitive market.
So you're saying posting about a resident pool party isn't necessarily going to solve your vacancy issues?
Yeah. Unfortunately not, no matter how nice that pool or that charcuterie board is.
Okay, so where does, talking about organic social, where does it really shine, would you say?
Yeah, this is really going to be best in building that brand, getting that resident engagement. Residents love getting to see themselves, getting to see their pets. That's when they're going to comment and tag each other the most. Getting some renewal support. So again, focusing on renewals with our resident retention. Maybe some employer branding if your management company has certain branding they want to do. Reputation reinforcement, talking about, just how great it is to live there, what residents are saying. And then truly one of the things I love is just SEO support. So a lot of people don't realize is being active on your social media channels feeds into your GBP, it feeds into your website. Anywhere where that link is posted, it's all helping your SEO. So it's also critical because prospects are absolutely going to check your social pages before they're touring or wherever they may find you from. So if it's poorly managed, it can just really create some trust issues, or someone may choose not to come for that reason.
Would you say that of all the social channels out there, is it, the big ones, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, that people need to be posting on, or do you have kind of a quick playbook there? I know we've done lots on social media in the past, but just while we're talking about, talking it through this episode, what should people really be paying attention to from platform perspective?
Absolutely. Our basics are always going to be Meta for the most part, where you're doing Facebook and Instagram together, especially depending on your market. We have some teams who are like, oh, well, I just have a Facebook page, and they may not want to go creating an Instagram route. But depending on your demographic, your market, who is going to be interacting with this, you absolutely want to be on Instagram. That's definitely going to be our millennial and Gen Z crowd over there. And then TikTok, absolutely. We're getting it involved at most lease-ups that we're a part of now. Highly after our Gen Z crowd. We're seeing more and more younger renters shift away from even just Google searching. We talked about that a few months ago, and truly just going to social searching. So they're going to TikTok and typing in best apartments in San Diego, California, and they're now seeing videos come up of these places. And that's where they're starting from. So they're not even going to Google. They're not even typing in some keywords, and that's how they're starting their search. So absolutely, I would say those are your main big three. We don't see a ton from like a Threads or X, standpoint, but absolutely those three. Anything that's involving pictures like that.
I know, I'll just touch this really quick. So LinkedIn, now I know that's kind of more of a professional network thing, but do properties actually post on that, or that is more of a personal thing?
We see a lot of corporate companies post for their properties where they may highlight communities. We don't really see a ton of communities do it themselves, but I will say a good way to do LinkedIn is having your team on site actually be the ones constantly posting about it, because they're making that personal connection. And then if you come across it as somebody on LinkedIn, you're like, oh, I recognize Caroline from Main Street Apartments. I'm going to go down and see what her community is about. So now you've kind of given it that personal reason why someone recognizes it, and it doesn't seem like too corporate-y. But having your people on site posted on LinkedIn absolutely helps.
Love it. All right. Now let's switch gears. Let's talk about paid, right? When does paid social win? So talk to me about paid social. What is it? What it's good for, all the ins and outs of it.
Yeah, so paid social is going to be very valuable for maybe lease-ups, new construction, people with occupancy drops, maybe a specific floor plan push. You can do retargeting website visitors, or maybe a special promotion going on. So platforms like Facebook and Instagram can be super powerful when they're segmented properly. But I'll say your but here, it depends on your creative quality, where you're targeting, the landing page experience, how is it once they leave, how you're pacing your budget, and then just doing consistent optimizations on it. So it's great to have it, but if it's not done well or not kept up with, then it's not doing you any favors.
So boosted posts alone probably aren't enough. Is that accurate?
Exactly. Yeah, usually not. Boosting could help the visibility, but there's not strategy behind it. You're just posting something that's coming up and happening. Whereas true paid social is going to involve in campaign structure, testing, optimization, and it's something you can continuously go in and change, and you get a lot more results and reporting from it as well.
Talking about budgets and budgeting strategy when it comes to paid social, if a property has a limited budget, where should they actually start with this?
This is a good question, and we actually address this a lot in our digital audits that we do for teams. So you always want to make sure that you have a strong organic presence first. And I always tell people, you want to make sure you're consistently posting before we go and run ads. Because what happens is if I run an ad for your community, and then a prospect goes and clicks your name and they want to see more what you're about, and your last post is from 2022, it's just not going to create that brand consistency. They're going to think they ended up in the wrong place. They're going to be like, well, this place isn't active. It's probably not even real. And so it's just not going to build that trust and reliability. So you want to make sure you have consistent posting. You want to make sure you have good reputation management. So again, they're going to click over to these things. If it says it's not recommended, or you have a 1 out of 5 stars, it's not going to do you any good either. When people are in social platforms, they're going to spend a lot of time quickly looking around, scrolling, and just engaging. And you want to make sure you have quality visuals there. That's kind of like your baseline. So then you want to layer on your paid social for really specific goals. Love doing it in lease-ups, love doing it in maybe some seasonal traffic gaps or things that may be missing, and then targeting promotions if you've got specials going on, a new phase opening up, just something new happening at the community. So if you don't have that strong organic foundation, your paid traffic may convert poorly because prospects are just not going to see you. They're not going to trust the brand that they're going through.
So the organic side, that's kind of your foundation or foundational, and paid is scalable.
100%. Absolutely.
Okay, so how does this connect to a broader marketing spend?
So this is really where your strategy is going to come into place and really matter. So if your retention on site is poor, if reviews are weak, and your social presence is inconsistent, these paid campaigns are going to be more expensive. You're going to have to spend more because you're losing more people along the way. So that margin becomes a lot smaller. So you could see some conversion rate drops. You could see the cost per lease rise. But when your organic is strong, it's going to, build that brand trust. It's going to help your paid campaigns perform better. Leasing teams are going to be able to convert more efficiently, and then it just helps your marketing dollars stretch further. So you really want these to work together, not compete against each other.
All right, let's do a quick fire round if we could, Caroline.
Okay.
All right, This will be fast. Organic or paid for lease-ups?
Paid.
Okay, organic or paid for resident retention?
Organic.
Boost posts or ads manager?
Ads manager, for sure.
Consistency or virality?
Always consistency.
Biggest social mistake?
Posting without strategy.
And how many communities would you say do that?
All the time. I would say that's probably the biggest thing I see. I really try to make teams get excited about it because I know it's oftentimes a requirement for them. And it's like post 3 times a week. And then you just see the crazy things people are posting. Yeah. So it's really about getting them excited to do it and realizing from this, how much of a difference it makes.
So to wrap it all up, if you had one final takeaway for everybody listening, what would it be?
I would probably say stop viewing organic and paid as separate strategies. So our strongest properties, they really use organic for trust, paid for reach, that reputation part for credibility, and then the retention for profitability. So it's really not about the likes. It's about supporting leases, renewals, and long-term property performance.
I love that. Thank you again, Caroline. Great input as always. And thanks for everybody tuning in today to the Multifamily Marketers Podcast. We will be back next week with another episode. So please help us grow the show, subscribe, share, and join us next week on another episode. Appreciate it, Caroline. Good luck on your drive to Florida.
Thank you, guys. Bye.